One of the things that I would be really hard pressed to say expert, but maybe more than casual user for Zoom. Is that fair enough? So we've been using that quite a bit, and luckily, knock on wood, I've been using Zoom quite a bit before the plague showed up. Not that I was not that anybody was expecting that, but I will say those skills kind of came in useful after the fact. And one of the big things that we were really looking at is if we're going to be doing this for a while, especially with this hybrid end of it, where we have a lot of people on Zoom, we have a lot of people that are here, and a lot more people. I'm very thankful to see so many people here in person. That's fantastic. How do we make this the best experience that we can? Do you want to just, and pardon me for you guys on Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and apologize right now, because if I stand behind this lectern for 20 minutes, I will have a seizure. I've never in my life been able to stand behind there unless it was an academic conference, and even then I started having the shakes really bad. So my apologies to you all. If I go off, you'll still see the cool Rotary Club thing and everything will be good. So, but you can hear me fine, hence the wireless mic. So, but what I wanted to make sure and tell it, how many folks know that you can get on Zoom on your phone? How many folks have used the cheat code where I'm going to attend the meeting, so to speak, but guess what? I'm not attending anything. I'm checking the box that I had the attendance, and I click the button and I set it over here on my desk. And while it's over here on my desk and I'm attending, I'm steadily working on my emails and my stuff, whatever, which is great. I mean, it serves a purpose. I can kind of hear what's going on, but are you really engaged in the meeting? Not really. And one of the things that it was killing everybody when it came to not being able to be here is we're so used to coming in, you see the smiles on everybody's faces, you get to shake hands, and someday we'll be able to do that without worrying about a misdemeanor conviction. Or at least right now you can kind of bump the elbows and all that jazz. But if you think about it, what is it about Rotary that we loved? Was it the fact of, okay, well, every week I get lunch? I mean, I can go lots of places to get lunch. It's the people. So how do we take that and be able to put the people aspect back into it? And one of the things that I just can't brag enough about as far as President Ken and the board and the leadership end of it, that they really wanted some way to try to engage the folks that were there on Zoom and not just feel like, hey, I'm missing out, but I get my attendance credit. How can we engage them? So I wanted to cover a few things that we were going to be doing a little bit different if you're on Zoom, and give everybody a couple of hints, tips, techniques, different things that you can do to try to make it a little bit more interactive. And that part right there is going to be a little bit of a warning for next week, because we're going to start doing something a little bit different next week. And some of these hints, tips, and suggestions will help you out. And number one, if you put it on the phone and you set it over here and you're busy doing your other work, once you log in next week, you're going to have a little bit of a difficulty, and you'll figure out why. My apologies again. I got to walk around or I'm done for. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're doing what we call breakout rooms for networking. Now, how many of you guys have been on some of the chamber events where we've done that? I know Darkus has, Steve has. So other than that, anybody have shared any of the chamber events? All right, well, for the chamber events and for our SHRM chapter meeting, what we end up doing is we have the breakout rooms. And what we do is we break everybody up into these networking exercises, 6 people to a room. Very easy, nothing you have to do on your end. Initially, you just show up and you log in. We'll give a few instructions. We'll tell everybody kind of what we want. And what we're going to end up doing is whoever's hosting in the background will hit a few magic buttons, and they'll create these breakout rooms that you won't be able to see at first. But what it's going to do is it's going to randomly assign 6 people to a room. The cool part about that is it's random assignment. So it's not quite as onerous as you come in and somebody's actually telling you, James, you can't sit over here with your friends. You have to sit over here. You know, but I always sit at the same place at the same time with the same people at the same Rotary Club every week. So it's not quite that onerous, because then you're like, wait a minute, I can see them. They're over there. Because if you randomly put them in a breakout room, guess what? You can't see who's in the other breakout. So then you don't feel jealous, like, man, I got slighted. I didn't get to sit over there by them. Because you can't see them, so who cares? But here's the awesome part about it. We typically put everybody in there for about 12, 13, 14 minutes, a little bit less than 15 minutes. Couple of quick things. Introduce yourself, where do you work, what do you do? maybe one fun, unique, or interesting fact about yourself. And I had to add the kind of unique or interesting fact because I used to just say, tell me one fun fact about yourself. And I found out there's a lot of people that aren't that fun. So, but at least you have something unique and you have something interesting about yourself. Even if you don't feel like I'm just not that fun of a person, we'll figure out something. It'll be okay. We got therapy for that. But, but at least if nothing else, what that does is you get a chance to really hit, once you go around the room, so to speak, somebody take charge, somebody, you know, okay, James, what about that? Okay, Kevin, what about that? Okay, Phil, what about, and you, everybody introduce yourself, a little bit about yourself, where you work, what you do, a fun or interesting fact, and just have some conversation for 12 or 15 minutes. Then you come back out into the main room. We talk about that in a second. You know, hey, what are some of the interesting facts you found out? Then guess what? We shuffle the deck one more time. Everybody goes back out into a breakout room. And guess what? 5 different people. So if you think about it, I get a chance to network and converse and learn more about 10 Rotarians that I probably have never met before, that I really don't ever have a chance to get a good conversation with. And even fun folks that I sit with all the time, I may not have enough time between the time I actually get here and the time that the program starts to really have a good conversation and learn more about them. So we thought that was a fantastic way for people that are on Zoom to be able to really interact with a lot more folks. Now, saying that, it's going to be a little bit different with the setup. We'll probably have everybody on Zoom log in at 11:50. That way, it starts at 12:20. That half hour will give us an opportunity to do 2 rounds of this. And I think that'll really help with the engagement. The folks that we've had with the chamber events and on Sherm chapter meetings and some other areas that we've done that with have really given some great feedback on how much they enjoy that. A lot of times they didn't think they would enjoy it. They're like, I don't want to do this. It's going to be. And then when they come out, you see all this, they come back into the main room, lots of smiles on their faces. They just seem to be happy. And they're really glad that they got a chance to meet and find out some interesting stuff about people that they never would have known without that. So that's what we're going to be starting next week. So if you're on Zoom, please make sure that, and John will send it out by email. We're going to log in at 11:50. And we're going to do that. So please be on time, and let's say we'll get started and we'll do all that. The other thing, as far as hints, tips, and techniques, a couple of things that if you can do to make your Zoom presentation, your Zoom experience a little bit better. One, I would definitely say, make sure that your audio is good. If you have a webcam with audio, if you have a microphone, if you have some way, test it beforehand. You can always go to zoom.us and then just /test. And that way you could just get on your own. You don't have to have an account. You can just go in and test your audio, test your video, take 2 minutes just to see how it sounds and how it works. The last thing you want is to sound like you're coming through in an echo chamber or a tin can, or somehow your bandwidth is so bad that you're just, you've all heard it. It's painful. We're trying to make it at least less painful. A couple of things too, if you can, and not everybody has this ability, pay attention to the background that you have. Obviously, you don't want anything terribly distracting. You don't want anything that you probably wouldn't want somebody to see. You probably wouldn't want the maid coming across the back of your desk with the laundry. Maybe not. Just saying.
That happened, actually.
Yes, it sure did. Not to me, not to her. So that's a wonderful thing. But to somebody that you probably would recognize who was giving an important presentation. And they had a beautiful background. They had everything, the desk and the thing. It wasn't a virtual background. It was a real house. It was beautiful. All of a sudden, maid just walks through and you're like, somebody just walked through. Then all of a sudden they walk across this way with the laundry basket right behind them. You're like, wow. Pay attention to that kind of stuff. Maybe shut the door a little, do not disturb, let somebody in the house know, hey, I'm going to be on Zoom. So, if you happen to walk behind, at least say I close on. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, it could be worse. There's been worse things happen on Zoom. God forbid, and I hate to say this. It's just terrible, but it's happened, so I got to say it. If you got to get up and go to the facilities, for God's sake, there's a button right over here, and I'm going to show you the button. Matter of fact, let me hit the thing over here. I'm going to show you guys the button. Lower left-hand corner. Sorry, guys, on Zoom, you're not going to see me, but I'm going to point. I'm going to actually put lower left, that one, mute. It's a godsend. We don't need to hear you go to the bathroom. 2, stop video. Yes, somebody's come through the door, stop the video real quick. That's cool. The other thing that we're gonna ask everybody to do, especially when it comes to the main part of the presentation. See this up here in the upper right-hand corner? Some are familiar with it, some are not. It's called speaker view. If you click on that, like for example, go ahead, I'll click on that when I walk back over there. But if you click on that upper right-hand corner, you won't see the big Brady Bunch view. You'll just see whoever the main speaker is. And then the Brady Bunch view either be like a photo strip on the right, or it'll be maybe a photo strip across the top. So I'll demonstrate that. But that works well, even if you're sharing the screen and there's a PowerPoint. If they're sharing the screen that's a PowerPoint, you will actually see that. So if I click the speaker view here, apparently John Elrick is talking. So let me, actually, Dave Smith, if you want to.
Yeah, you're the host, so you'll have to share your screen, I think, for that to show up for us.
Gotcha. Okay, well, on our end here at the club, it shows up as whoever is speaking. So right now you are.
Yeah, I've got you on speaker view, but we're not seeing any of your pointer.
No problem. And guess what? You're on, we have on speaker view, so we can see the office loud and clear. So the plate is really cool in the background.
Thank you. Well, and I made you the co-host, but somehow it made you the host, so I can't do anything now. There's no co-host, only the.
There is no co-host. All right.
Powerful all the time.
So we're back to Brady Bunch view. But when you go into your own personal setting, that's a big one. Camera placement and lighting. Simple. One thing, especially as we start to get older, nobody wants to look at your jowls. Because think about this. And Dell is the worst. And I've got a Dell, and it's the world's worst. And I forgot to bring my little Logitech camera to sit on top here. Dell did everybody a disservice. And they're going to sue me when I'm saying this. But most places, the little camera is right here on top. Oh, no, Dell put it on the bottom. So if you're sitting there working on your laptop, guess what? This thing's looking up at you at the most unattractive angle ever, because all you see is this, right? And then they're counting your ceiling tiles. And I can promise you this, on any Zoom meeting, nobody wants to count your ceiling tiles. Just being honest. But if there's any way that you can get your camera up maybe 1 inch above your eye level from where you're sitting, it looks like you're looking straight into the camera and you're looking straight at the people that you're speaking with.
Also, when you get up and move around or if you bend over, as this lady's height, just be very conscientious that camera's with you whenever you get up and down out of your seat or move around and bend down.
Yes, that's right. That is why that stop video button is so important.
Really good.
That stop video button is very important. The other thing is with lighting, people like to see your face. And most of the lighting here that I'm looking at is fairly good, but a lot of people, and I know you've seen it before, they'll get on their kitchen table, they'll pull up the laptop, the audio is great, the video is great, but guess what? The lighting is the sun is coming right from the back. And whoops. They're like, why are you looking at my chicken salad? Anyway, they look like they've just gone into witness protection and they're getting ready to testify against the mob, right? The only thing that is missing is the TV part of it where they're like, whoa, 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 where they dusted out their voices, and you can't see them for anything. That doesn't help anybody. So when you're on Zoom, I would dare say, please make sure, just small things. Like I said, the lighting, the camera angle, the sound, just little stuff like that. It makes a big difference. It really does when you're talking to somebody. And also, I said, the biggest thing that I really wanted to make sure and get across to everybody was the fact that we're going to be starting something different based on the recommendation from President Kent and the board to be able to get some interaction for your folks that are on Zoom. And so if you're in here and we're going to be starting at 12:20, you guys that are here in person aren't going to notice any difference. But the cool thing is you can go over and shake hands if you're willing to, bump elbow. However, you can greet each other appropriately, have a conversation, share a meal. But the folks online aren't necessarily able to do that. So how are we going to be able to bring that interaction to them? Is by doing the breakout sessions with the networking. So that way, if you do have to attend via Zoom, the other good part is we're able to run reports to see how long you were there and that you were logged in, which is awesome. So you don't necessarily have to. And if I speak out of turn, John or President Kent, please let me know. But you shouldn't have to turn in a makeup slip because we can run these reports. Now, if you watch the replay, you would definitely need to turn in a slip because we can't tell that you clicked the link and the replay. We're good, but we're not that good. We can't do that. And the other thing that I can think of is making sure that being on time at 11:50, making sure the camera is as it should be because this laptop is starting to migrate a little bit. And beyond that, I wanted to open it up for any questions that you guys might have about Zoom, about anything else. Yes?
So you would have to have your video on.
Yes. Right, we would, right, that helps.
At least a third or half don't at this point.
Right, and it's fine if you're just logging in and you're kind of taking it in a one-way fashion. And after we do the breakout rooms, it's perfectly fine to cut the video off. There's no problem with that at all. But if you're in a room with 5 other people, it would be very difficult if everybody's just got their phone on and they're doing their work and nobody's paying attention because no one's going to introduce yourself and no one's going to. But yes, the question was, would you have to turn your video on? And the answer to that would be yes. And I defer to my legal friends. The best legal answer was it depends. So yes, when you're in the breakout room and not necessarily if you're in the main room. So it depends. Yes.
If you are in fact taking makeups via Zoom, make sure people change their name to their actual name instead of Tiny's
Yes.
iPad, because you'll never get that data from Tiny's iPad.
Yes, thank you. Now I want to make sure everybody on Zoom heard that because that was one of the points that as soon as I turned over for questions, I realized that I had missed that. So thank you for that reminder. Yes, if we can't give you credit if it just says iPhone and if there's 3 Jims on and everybody just says Jim, Jim, and Jim, with the real Jim, please stand forward because we don't know. But yes, if you can go in, an easy way to do that is this. You can, there's either where your screen is, upper right-hand corner, there's 3 little dots. Man, 3 little dots are, it's hard to see sometimes. You gotta get the reading glasses on. Easier than that. You see your own picture, right click. When you right click, it'll say rename. Click the rename and just put your first and last name. It'll make it so much easier to track down to give you credit for the attendance. So no, great point, thanks. Yes, sir.
Can you go over the difference of the iPhone and the laptop as far as capabilities?
All right, no, great question. The question was difference between iPhone, iPad, and laptop, desktop for capabilities. The capabilities are almost the same. Where some of the things are a little bit different. Okay, so on an iPad, if you're looking at speaker view like here, you can see upper right-hand corner, it says speaker view. I believe iPad, not 100% on iPhone, but I think iPad is like the 3 dots on the left. A lot of times, if you look at the little 3 dots, it'll say more info. Click on that and you'll find things like the chat, the breakout rooms, such like that. So that's what I would recommend. If you don't see it right offhand, look for that, like more options, more info. Typically, I think it's over on that left-hand side on the iPad, where there's the 3 dots.
Because on the phone last time I was on the meeting, it seemed like all the capabilities.
Yeah, and it's just like on my Android phone. I get on it and I can host, I can participate, but man, it's clunky compared to, well, just because there's just not as much real estate as there is on a desktop. But yeah, it's mostly there, but it's on the like little 3 dots, more info, more options. Yes.
Some people I know do not have cameras on their phone. You have to have a camera, right? On your computer.
The camera on the computer is best. If you can't and you don't have one, at least you're able to speak and be able to talk. And if you're on your computer, the nice part about it is you can see on here where everybody's name comes up. Even if you don't have one, it's not the end of the world. We can see your name as long as we can hear you and you can talk. It's nice to be able to see you and smile and make eye contact. But if we can't, it's not the end of the world.
Android phone like I do.
Yep.
Is that going to be any limitation?
I've got an Android phone myself, and I use the Zoom on it all the time, and sometimes it's actually easier. We've had with some of our job fairs that we've done where the IT department has locked down Zoom or any other mobile type of networking app or, you know, kind of app. That's fine. We've had the recruiters on their phone on Zoom, and it's worked beautifully. So no, that's good. Just find wherever the camera is, try the best that you can to set it somewhere where you can actually look into it so you're not looking straight down. Or if you do, have your iPhone or your Android phone. I would recommend, if you do have to get up, go ahead and stop the video. So that way we don't get dizzy looking at your video going back and forth as you're walking down the hallway. Yes.
Again, what about the people that can't join until after 12?
Well, here's the thing. We're going to have 2 sessions. If we're going to start it at 11:50, that's one of the reasons we're having 2 sessions. We can't, typically it's like a 30-minute type thing. So we'll have a couple of minutes of just, hey, how you doing? People get in, and then we'll start the breakout rooms. If people come in after the first session has started, it's certainly not the end of the world. They're just there. We'll just talk, hang out a little bit. And then when everybody comes back, we'll do that session number 2. They can just get into that, which will be fine. So we're trying to give the most opportunity. So we're going to tell everybody 11:50, but if they come in a little bit late, they just will miss the first one. They'll get into the second one. So the question was, what happens if you're not able to get in at 11:50? And that was the answer to that. Darkus.
It'll count down too. Well, you'll see.
Yes.
So a lot of times in chat rooms, you're having such a good time that you're talking or laughing about something, and all of a sudden, boom, you're gone, because once that Dave's hit that timer and the timer's up, your chat room's gonna end and flow back into the main system. But you'll be able to see you've got 2 seconds left to say something. I'm not gonna get.
Yeah, but typically they'll say, hey, you have 30 seconds left. And then that way it's like, oh, 30 seconds left. Let's wrap it up. So, and when you come back into the main room, typically you would be muted. And we do that because if you think about it, if you have 100 people in different breakout rooms that are all laughing and joking and having a fantastic time, great when there's 6 in a room, bad when there's 100 in a room. Makes for a little confusion. So we mute everybody when they come back to the main room on purpose. So what are the questions you guys have as far as Zoom? Maybe some best tips, practices, any questions about the new format we're going to be doing with the breakout rooms and sessions? Cool, but that's all. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's going to be something different, hopefully a whole lot of engagement that we didn't have on the Zoom meetings before. So my apologies to everybody that just wanted to turn the phone on, sit over there, keep working and get the attendance credit. My apologies. You can do whatever you got to do after 12:20, but between 11:50 and 12:20, we're going to try to have some engagement and have a little bit of fun. Thanks, you guys.
David, Jonathan's. David,
Yes, sir. Jonathan.
David, sorry.
No.
I didn't know if you could hear me. What is the Zoom app called for the phone? I'm looking on mine and there seems to be a selection.
You should just be able to go into the Google Play or the App Store, and hopefully, knock on wood, it would be the very top one. But if you've ever seen the Zoom symbol, but it looks like a little blue video camera, white video camera inside of a little blue dot, that would be it. So there's a Zoom app for Apple and iPhone, and I with myself or John or Dave Smith or any of us, and we can certainly, and I'll throw this out to anybody, reach out to myself, Dave Smith, Billy, Worley, a bunch of us and Brandon Thomas are looking to we're going to be on this committee to really try to help everybody out with the Zoom stuff. So definitely reach out by email, telephone, anything. We'd be more than happy to try to walk you through any of this if you do have issues with it. And so that way, great point, Jonathan, at least we're able to help you guys and walk you through it and do the best we can to make it as enjoyable as possible. So thanks.